I have a 2006 Honda Ridgeline, and the tailgate would only open sideways. It wouldn't open down in the traditional direction. So I opened it up. There's videos on YouTube on how to do that. It's not hard. And I found out that the handle right here was broken, so that when you pull on it, sorry, this piece stays down. It's broken right there. And so when this is locked in its arm to release the mechanism, since it doesn't go down, it doesn't actuate the lever. So I looked online for this piece. And this sucker's $139 if you want it painted. You can get them for 28 bucks if they're just primer black, but I don't want that. It's going to look stupid. So I'm just going to fix it myself, and I'm going to show you what I've decided to do. I have a bucket of just raw materials that I just keep around in case I need them. So this is just sheet metal from an AC housing, and I save it in case I need a piece of sheet metal. From it, I used a pair of snips like that to cut away a little piece, and that piece is designed to fit right there. So I cut it so it can go just like that. The idea is to create a mechanical bond between the 2 points that are broken right there. So I'm going to glue that with some 2-part epoxy to do the best I can with a chemical bond, but then I'm going to put this guy on there. So I drilled a hole at the bottom, chose some screws from my bucket of random screws that I keep around, and then I drilled a hole right there that goes through the best part of the metal, the plastic right there. And then I put another hole at the top that I'm going to drive right in that slot and make a screw that's just wide enough to bite into each side of that. So there'll be 3 different places where that's anchored together, and I think that is going to be more than enough to keep it from popping loose when you yank on the handle. We'll see how it comes out. I mixed up a little 2-part 5-minute epoxy, put it on both sides of the brake inside this, and now I'm going to push that together, let it chemically bond, and then see how the mechanical bond adds to it. So that is the epoxy joint and how it all fits together right now, and I'm going to put the sheet metal over the top of that. So I put 3 screws in there. The top one's probably unnecessary because it goes into that slot and probably isn't very strong, but the other 2 are in good position. And then I went ahead and backfilled the entire cavity with epoxy just to give it some more rigidity. I don't know if it'll help, but it didn't hurt. So after you're done, the whole thing still swings in and out. None of the screws interfere with anything else, and it'll pop right back into the slot and be able to actuate that lever. I'll let you know after it dries. Okay, so it's all dried up. Just pop it back in. It's just 2 little bolts that fit to hold it back in place. And then it's going to go just like that. No interference, and it'll actuate the lever. These are 10mm bolts, like everything else on a Honda. Just put that back in there, and the only thing that keeps it from coming out is this green plastic snap, goes right over it, just like that, and actuates the trunk for the first time that my daughter's had the truck. I don't know if you're going to do it that way, but at least it's an idea. Well, this is just an extra because I'm putting it back together, and when you do so, the first thing you have to do is take off this plastic cap which goes on the top of the bed tailgate. If you watch videos on it, some people suggest that the way to do it is to, it sits like this, and they suggest that what you ought to do is undo the 2 mechanical screws that hold it in there, 4 screws all on the edge, and then whack it with the rubber mallet on this side to jar the plastic to the left. The point of that is that it's hoping that every single one of these clips, and there are a lot of them, are going to pull sideways simultaneously out of their little spots, and then you'll just be able to lift it off. I just lifted it up and pried, you know, so some of the clips stayed with the truck, some of the clips stayed with the cap. I suppose it works if you whack it, but I just didn't want to do it because I hadn't seen what it looks like. So this is what it's like if you decide to beat it to the left, or whether you decide to pry it straight up. They're just the soft kind of clips that are always on a car, and they just pry themselves right out. So now there's no way that you're going to put these back on the car, set the cap on it, and then whack it to the right, and then hope that every one of these clips is going to engage. So I'm going to go through and put all of them back into their spots, and then I'm going to snap it on just like you put any other trim piece on. And I'm using this thing to get my clips out because the ones that are in there are stuck pretty tight. And so with this thing you can get the leverage to pop it out without having to break the edges off. So it works really nice. It works for any piece of trim. I put all those back in, as many as survived, and I will now snap it back on to the tailgate. But before I do so, just so in case you didn't find another video that'll show you how to take this off, once you pry this rail off the top cap, having removed all 4 of those mechanical screws there, and then however you decide to get past these clips, just ripping it in my case, there are 2 T40 screws, one here, sorry, 3. There's one there, and there's one there. And then once you take those out, there are 4 screws inside the face of the tailgate, 2, 3, and 4. So you got a total of 7 that have to come out. That's all it takes to get it out, but this thing is definitely the biggest pain in the butt. I had to make sure you knew it worked. So I have the regular side opening, and now fully functional other opening. So $139 saved, ingenuity used. I hope that helps. Have a good day.